Well, happy Saturday, folks. The real Captain Kirk here. We're live from One Bethlehem Plaza here in downtown Bethlehem on the 25th of July. Hard to believe we've only got about 38 days until meteorological summer ends, 1 September here. So again, a beautiful day here. Again, we're enjoying this cooler, crisp, clean, dry air. 56 low this morning, only 83 this afternoon. Low humidities. No smoke, so again, great weather here. Thought we'd ask Sunny, our robot here, again, tell us about summer to date weather trends here. Again, we actually got about hundreds of these cute little stuffies coming from China, of course, made in right here in Lehigh Valley, actually. But again, we're hoping Typhoon Noel, I think Noel, got about a Category 2, going to hit just north of Hong Kong. So we do not want any typhoons in the way of Sunny here. Our stuffy does not belong at the bottom of the Pacific Ocean here. So hopefully the storm will miss the Hong Kong area here today. Look at summer to date here, 1 June through 24 July. Again, so Sunny is going to tell us about that. So again, rainfall, while down 2% nationally versus last year, that's still 2% above average, 18th wettest in 41 years. So again, it's had its moments. I had to laugh. I heard someone here talk about 2012, which was a historic drought at this point in the season. Again, so nothing like that. Again, there's been some dryness in the far western Corn Belt and parts of Florida and the Pacific Northwest and maybe central Rockies there again, but nothing like the 2012. You can see that down here was one of the worst in 50-some years. Looking at temperature trends here again, it's had its moments of heat, but it's also had these moments of cool. Cool never makes headline news here, but overall nationally, summer, 1 June, 24 July is 0.2 cooler than last year. Coolest in 3 years, still 12th warmest. But again, we'd have that cool spot would be kind of all through the plains, Midwest there, parts of South Texas. Some of that's just rain, cool there. Now it's relative to summer. Again, cool is relative to Texas. If you're not 100 and you're only in the 90s, that's a cool day in Texas. So again, overall, the hot 90-degree day index is the least in 3 years. Still 10th most. U.S. max temperatures are, again, the least in 3 years. Still 12th warmest in 41 years. Looking at El Nino here, this is no doubt going to be an historic event here. It's almost certainty here if we look at the rapidly warming Equatorial Pacific Ocean temperatures. So again, we've gone from La Niña last fall to El Nino this year, and again, it's going to be pretty historic. So again, we go back to 9 November here again, so you see all that cold below normal water temperatures, and then now we're looking below the Pacific from Australia to Ecuador. But again, all that below normal here was La Niña. And again, we could see El Nino. You can always look at these underwater things to kind of tell you this was going to move. And sure enough, look at it here. So right now we're looking at +3, +4C, +7 just below the surface. So this is crazy warm. If +3.1 will be record shattering going back to, I think, 1877 here. So right now the models do suggest that it will be historic, peaking maybe in the November timeframe, and still looking at a moderate El Nino as we get into maybe spring next year. So it'll slowly weaken here as we go through the winter season. But again, historic for sure. So we go back to the 1877 time frame, was +3 to +3.5. This one, if it gets to 3.1, will crush everything all the way back to 1877. So I'm going back 149 years. So uncharted territory here for this event. We got a second week tropical storm here with Bertha that went across the north central Gulf. Pretty ironic. It hit the closest city was like New Orleans that it hit, and New Orleans had 0.2 inches of rain. So again, and most of the convection, most of the heavy rain stayed well off of the coast. So next to no impact here with Bertha. In fact, the MJO cycle suggests nothing. We're going to quiet down here in the Atlantic and may not see the next flare up until we get to early September. So again, it's going to be a below average hurricane season for sure. Not so in the West. When you get an El Nino, you typically can get these type of events that head toward Hawaii. So this will be a Fausto. Again, it'll pass north of the island. That's good news. You'll be on the south side, which is the weak side of the tropical storm type condition. So again, probably next to no impact, maybe some squally showers, but they're used to that. But again, not much impact to the Hawaiian Islands. New feature we added to our mapping tools here at wt360, 18-hour smoke forecast. Obviously, smoke's been making headline news here. Still got some big fires. The ones in Ontario are pretty much almost out, still smoldering a bit. But the big ones flaring up are obviously in the Pacific Northwest. And you can see all the light gray and white here is just some smoke, some pollution. So light to moderate type pollution. Those yellows, oranges, and reds are right where the fires, and that's extremely unhealthy pollution. So some areas there in Oregon, Washington, you'll go from pretty smoky skies to really smoky skies. The other thing we got to contend with is just dust coming off Africa here. That's still continuing to come all the way across Africa through the Gulf. This suppresses hurricane activity. So it's a good news. If you don't like hurricanes, it does help to suppress with the El Nino wind shear. And map right here is the smoke. So you can see those big fires that were up north of Minnesota into southern Ontario there. Pretty much diminished. We're not getting the smoke like we had a couple weeks ago. Look at last week world summer here, ending here today, the 25th July. A cooler week, U.S. overall, 0.6 cooler than last year. Still 15th warmest in 41 years. Hot 90-degree days down 5%, still above average, and 10% drier, driest in 11 years. Look over there in Europe, finally, they got a cool down now. So coolest in 6 years after their heat wave. Don't get used to it because it's coming roaring back. Big map here, trends versus last year. BAP's inset left are the trends versus average. Look at the severe weather here. We added about 53 tornadoes, so up a little bit, and added 43 hail events. And the big winner was 857 wind events. So winds leading the case this year with the most in 15 years. Tornadoes, hail are down from last year, but again, tornadoes are still above average. We're going to add some severe weather here this week. Going across the northern tier of the U.S. Into the Great Lakes, and then by early next week in the mid-Atlantic here. So this week, again, hard to believe we're talking the last week of July into 1 August. Overall, a warming trend, 1.8 warmer than last year, third hottest in 41 years. Not so for the East Coast. Again, we're still enjoying some cooler weather right along the immediate coast. It really heats up there in the northern Rockies, northern plains, southwest. Rainfall, again, is down about 23% nationally, driest in 27 years, but getting much needed rainfall again across the northeast, southeast. Again, we'll take it. Hot 90-degree days, again, a little bit up, 4%. Again, a lot of that's going to be in the southwest and the central U.S. Look at next week here. Again, it might get a little tropical here. Again, rainfall up 50% over last year, 8th wettest in 41 years, so more heavy rain. Got to watch that area in Texas. We'll see. Again, that's a monsoon type event, but again, they don't need any more rain out there. So that could be some flash flooding there in West Texas. Temperatures, again, way up, 3.1 warmer than last year, warmest in 4 years, 6th warmest in 41 years, hot 90-degree days, up 41%. Again, a lot of this is in the Central Plains and the Southwest, not so much in the East, where it's, again, still a bit cooler than last year. Just, again, a little bit above average. We aggregate these world 2-week trends here again. So this is 26 July through 8 August. Got to be careful here because I'm going from cool in Europe to really hot. So it shows it hot in Europe, but again, cool to hot. Hot, we'd say in the southwest, central U.S. Again, cooler trends would be across Alaska, northern Canada, into the Great Lakes, and even Florida. A little bit cooler due to some rain. Big map again, trends versus last year. Precip trends here. Again, this is aggregating through the 8th of August. So theme is kind of wet along the East Coast. Very wet there, obviously in China with the typhoon moving in. Again, even some rain for southern Brazil here. So maps total rainfall here and map in south left to the trends versus average. Don't forget, you can get this blog video in your inbox every Saturday, Sunday. Go to weathertrends360.com/newsletter/captains-log. Subscribe. And again, get thousands of folks that have signed up for this free newsletter. So that, folks, have a great week ahead here, and we will talk to you soon.